Well, welcome everyone to another exciting video about City of Mist TTRPG. Joining me today is a special guest, the creator of City of Mist, of Son of Oak Game Studios. Everyone please give it up for Amit Moshe, who is joining me today to talk about the latest project Son of Oak is working on. So Amit, let's start this off. Tell us about Tokyo Otherworld.
Yeah, well, it's. I'm glad we're doing this video. We just announced it. We want everyone to kind of, get a little bit more details. We've been asked about it. A lot of questions, of course. We have reached out to all of our fans and backers and supporters and customers last October, I think, or something like that. We did a survey about what would they like to see the most. And we already had this idea brewing of creating a cyberpunk version of City of Mist.
Mm-hmm.
But, the results of the survey really blew us out of the water. That was kind of like the top two things were the cyberpunk version and the local legends, the districts book, which we're also doing, but that's for another day. And we decided to go ahead with this. So it's really a game that kind of takes the basic concept of City of Mist and does a kind of a what if on it in the real world with real cities and real cultures. But what would happen if the mist was replaced with the noise, which is the sum of all stimuli and that we're getting from everything, from the accelerated information age on all its aspects. What would happen? So that's a kind of a what if situation.
So you say that like Tokyo Otherworld is kind of like a what if take on City of Mist. Can you kind of clarify more on like how do Tokyo Otherworld and City of Mist relate?
Right. So Tokyo Otherworld, Otherworld in general, and Tokyo Otherworld, which is going to be the first setting out of many, hopefully. These games take place in a world where there are still mythoi, and mythoi still manifest through mankind, but there is the noise. So it's different from City of Mist, where it's a city, we don't know where it is, we don't know what's the story, it's a part of the mystery. This is a cyberpunk game. It happens in real world with a very, intricate geopolitical situation. You have the governments, you have crime syndicates, you have corporations fighting among themselves. But throw into that the fact that the noise has made it, on the one hand, almost impossible for mythoi to express themselves through human beings. But on the other hand, people are completely indifferent to any fantastical thing that is happening around them. They just don't really care because they've seen it all. They've played it in a video game. They've, seen it on whatever virtual reality. So for them, it's like, okay, great, you're a dragon, good for you. Or, you're a dragon and you're scary, I'm going to run. So it's not like they're not responding to it, but they don't really care about the source of things, where things come out of. So this is a kind of a dual thing. Your characters can have more overt, mythological powers, but on the other hand, they don't get it out of themselves. They get it out of sources. And sources are kind of different things around the world that could be relics, they could be thin places, they could be different rituals that can give you the powers of a mythos, but it's very time limited. It's very dependent on a kind of a price that you have to pay. And this creates a totally different universe. So yes, people still use all of the mythos powers, but in a very different way.
Bringing up mythos powers, so it sounds like there's like this kind of like a world adjacent kind of thing with City of Mist. Like there's still kind of the mist, but also there's more of like the noise kind of putting the wool over people's eyes, but in an uncaring way. So City of Mist had the mythos and logos dichotomy, where it was your mundane life and your mystical life. Does that transfer over to Tokyo Otherworld, or is there a new system now with the noise?
Yeah, so there's a new system that's similar to City of Mist, but it's a kind of the version of Otherworld. And in this situation, there are three forces at hand. There is the meat, the humans, the humanity, everything that defines being a human being. And then there are kind of two directions that go out of that. One of them is the mythos, where you maybe go inside and it's more connected to places that are kind of that have like inspire focus or are sanctified, or it could be connected to items that are very special or unique, and that's how mythos is expressed. And of course, we know mythos, the legendary. Although with these cities or with this universe, we're going to be focused on the more classic or mythological aspects. We're not going to expand so much to literary, because we kind of want to grasp those, those demons, those gods, all of those things, and focus on that. Of course, the rule set will allow you to do everything you want, but that's what we're going to be focusing. And on the other hand, you have all of the new technology that is totally integrated with humanity. Virtual reality, augmented reality, cyberware, cyberspace, any number of, could be biological tech, any number of new technologies. Some of them we'll cover in the book, some of them you can come up with yourself. And they're kind of they're generating all this noise, all this information, all these stimuli, and that's kind of a counterforce for the mist. But at the same time, we're also kind of exploring the idea of singularities, where the mythos and the noise kind of meet, and maybe something is created without the body, which is a kind of a cyberpunk, I guess, subject of exploration. So all of these things, the triangle is going in all directions.
So with the cyberpunk genre, what like brought you to that? What sort of?
So I always kind of liked it. I mean, I was being into that. I guess the biggest thing, if I want to say one inspiration for this, is Ghost in the Shell.
Oh.
I think that's kind of one of my favorites, and that is definitely going on what you mentioned of asking yourself, am I human? What is the ghost? What is the shell? And now we're bringing in this third dimension of gods, and kind of asking, okay, are humans just drones? What are humans just drones for the gods? Like, are our bodies just something that the soul goes into, like a sleeve from Altered Carbon or something like that? So we can really play on a multi-level here with those questions of what makes us human, and do androids dream of electric sheep, and all that jazz. So yeah, the idea is definitely to bring up questions of humanity, of consciousness, of what is real, which has always been a kind of a trope in City of Mist, but here it's kind of what is virtual, what is real, what is real in the virtual realm, and what is, when life is so cheap outside because you can get shot by whatever, a corporate security team for nothing. What is that worth? What makes humanity human, and so on. All of these questions that are in the heart of cyberpunk.
That's incredible. I'm like not only really interested in creating a character now with this like new three-way dynamic, but also really interested in like exploring this world that you're talking about. And you mentioned earlier, so Otherworld is starting out with Tokyo Otherworld. Are there plans to branch out into other cities?
Yeah, there's definitely other cities we've been talking about in Discord. We asked everyone what kind of cities they would like to. They get some great ideas. I did mention that personally I have Lagos or Lagos, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, and Rio as kind of potential things, but we're going to focus first and foremost on Tokyo and start with that. Definitely a couple of American cities, of course, that we're considering as well. And the idea is to just kind of really focus on a culture and, what happens when the demons and the gods of this culture kind of come out and start participating in really a war for domination between. It's really about power when you think about it sometimes in cyberpunk. It's whether it's the government, whether it's the crime syndicates, whether it's the corporations. They're all kind of the same thing in a way, because the corporations are, enacting crimes all the time. The government is dealing with, the underworld. It's just all like a big mess of how to control everything. And now you throw into it this arms race, really, for obtaining these sources of mythical power. So that kind of creates a whole new complication, and your characters are thrown in the middle of that.
So yeah, we've talked about like the corporations, the crime syndicates, all these people fighting and vying for magical power. Who are the players in this situation?
Yeah, so like City of Mist, we have different types of series that you can have. You can play different types of crews. The classic one is the hired guns, people that just work for money. They get a job. Of course, it gets complicated. Of course, they have their own motivations, and it's more complicated than that. They could be privateers. They could be like, searching the ruins of, a climate change disaster or God forbid, a pandemic or whatever it is that like wiped out a city in the cyberpunk world. Stuff like that, exploring the ruins, trying to find those sources. They could be a corporate unit or like a unit that works for a specific organization. For example, like in Ghost in the Shell, where they're a government unit, but there's always complications. Someone is kind of thinking, maybe about doing something else on the side. So there's really a million things you could play in a universe like that. The crew can be any number of things.
I love that aspect of City of Mist where, with like the crew themes, you can change up like how you want to play. Like either you're like the high school mystery solving Scooby Gang or you're the hired guns, like you said.
Yeah, exactly.
So this project is going to be running on City of Mist Reloaded. We've actually seen a lot of questions about that. Is this like a new kind of rules? Is it still compatible with, like City of Mist? Do we call it City of Mist Classic now? Like, tell us about it.
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe we'll just leave it City of Mist. That's a good question. So yeah, we just it's kind of City of Mist 1.5. We've been also teasing a next gen system that's coming, and we're playtesting it, but that's like a leap. So, but it's kind of takes you one step towards that in the sense that we don't want to kind of wait until we publish the next gen thing to bring in some things that we've noticed and could update in the system that could be better. So, for example, we've noticed that a lot of the things that you do in City of Mist, like take the risk, sneak around, and convince. A lot of these things are actually kind of a category of a one roll challenge. Okay, you do it, and then you either succeed or not, or you have complications. But it's really just something that is a kind of an obstacle that you either do or you don't. It's like climb a fence. Okay, take the risk, sneak behind this person, sneak around. Talk to this guy with convince and get through the door. Now, if you want to do something more complicated, it becomes a danger. It has spectrums, it becomes a whole thing. And then you're using different moves. So we just want to kind of clarify and make it easier for people to understand. And maybe one of the things that we're going to do is condense some of those one move obstacles into one move. And then have more clear moves about giving statuses. Like there will be one move to give statuses, and that is used either if you want to slap a status on someone, or if you want to do it specifically to max out their spectrum. So there's a lot of things that can be cleaner. The problem with streamlined is that the more you streamlined, the less support people have in choosing which move to have, because everything looks like so how do I do this? Okay, I want to shoot. How do I shoot? And what we're going to do for that is we're going to introduce almost like a deck of activities that tells you, shooting, do it this way. Hacking, do it this way. And it's really easy to understand how to do healing, summoning, all of these things that you and I have been working on with the videos of trying to let people know how to do A, B, C, and D. Is just going to be built into the system. So the core is going to be super light, but there's going to be a lot of examples on how to do specific things that are kind of cyberpunky.
Wow, that sounds like a fantastic idea. Like I love City of Mist's like flexibility and freedom with the system. But yeah, there has been those times when it's like, okay, how do we do this specific thing? It's nice to hear that the City of Mist rules are going to be a bit more streamlined and also made into its own thing with Tokyo Otherworld's specific systems. So, speaking of its own identity, though, I've seen like the art for Tokyo Otherworld, especially the art of the like the new characters that have come out. It looks absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I love it.
Who's the main artist for this project?
So we've contacted a couple of our usual artists, but the person who created all of these characters is Isago Fukuda, who's also the creator of Queers that we've produced. But here, obviously, he's taking a much more kind of like a serious stance, more cyberpunk, more we're kind of going more towards the Ghost in the Shell aesthetic in a way,
and less Super Sentai.
And less Super Sentai, yeah. I mean, he's amazing. I mean, if you look at his portfolio, it's very versatile, and he's created some really cool characters for us. He's also because we're doing Tokyo, and he's lived there. He's Japanese. He's from Japan. He's connected to these things, so he's enriching a lot of our ideas with his own knowledge about Japanese mythology. And some of the stuff is obviously coming from him. He's also going to be consulting on the whole project from a content perspective, and it's really fun. I mean, he whipped those characters up in no time. It's just amazing. We were all and they're amazing. So it's really a lot of fun to work with him on these characters, and it's cool to be able to combine elements of mythology with some, really crazy augmentations, and there are things that really beg, crossing over to the cyber realm and cyberspace, and it's just, I don't want to spoil anything.
I can't wait for, I don't know, stone guardian lions with like turrets inside of them.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we're going.
Incredible. So can you tell me a bit more about like the Tokyo Otherworld system? Is there anything new you're adding, or is there anything you're really excited to talk about?
There's quite a lot coming. First of all, there are new theme books. So there's going to be theme books for Mythos, Noise, and Meat. We're trying to make this a more of a adventuring game than City of Mist, which is in its heart an investigation ensemble kind of like show. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we're going to do is, I'm thinking about it now, I'm developing it. It's not 100% set in stone, but I'm thinking of adding like a fixed fifth theme that has your gear in it. And of course, it's not going to be, it's called the loadout theme, and you change the game in a way to recharge it every downtime and just put stuff into it. Of course, it's not a comprehensive gear list. We don't do that. We're a cinematic game. We're a narrative game. You only have the gear that matters there. But gear matters in Cyberpunk. It matters what you're packing right now. So, so we definitely want to do that. And one of the things that we're doing is we're creating tag specializations. So we won't have the theme title anymore. The theme title will be a broad tag that represents the entire theme. All of the power tags are going to be kind of like specializations of that tag. So, and then each one of those tags could also have specializations under that. So you won't have more tags, but there will be a kind of a hierarchy to tell you, okay, this tag is actually a feature of that tag. So you could have, mercenary as your main tag. Then you could have an assault rifle. An assault rifle could have a special sight or, highly explosive ammunition as specialization tags. So these are details of assault rifle. Or you could have a skill and those, give me a skill, like a summoning, and then there are specific ones. Parkour, exactly. And there are like specific maneuvers or abilities that are specializations of that. And it doesn't change anything about the tag system except that it makes it kind of like a little easier to see what this tag is about. What does it describe, instead of just a blank list of tags, or a flat rather list of tags.
So there's kind of like almost like a flowchart kind of thing going on with the tags now, where you can kind of see the connections.
It's a hierarchy. Yeah, we're gonna release a new character sheet soon, so everyone can see what it looks like, and it's a lot of fun, because then you're kind of like, wait, I don't want to upgrade my gun. Wait, I want to. There's like, it adds that cyberpunk feel to it. So yeah, it's cool.
I can't wait to see that. Like we're all very excited about this. When will the Kickstarter be launching?
So we don't have a date set yet. It's going to be sometimes in April. We'll definitely notify everyone as soon as that happens. But yeah, it's going to be hopefully in April.
And how can they best be notified?
Well, the best thing is to go to the Kickstarter preview link that we'll probably share in the show notes, and just say notify me or remind me, and then you'll get an instant message, an email, whatever, as soon as it goes live. And we will definitely be having first day special kind of rewards or bonuses for people who are backing us right away. Because, want to give the most momentum to it as we possibly can. We will be sharing that later on.
Phenomenal. And I know we're early into the project, but can you share a few stretch goals that you guys already have in mind?
I mean, there's so many content things we want to do. So we're kickstarting 2 books at the same time. The core for Otherworld, you will be able to use that to create any kind of city in the world of Otherworld, not just Tokyo.
Very nice.
It's going to be a completely, kind of a global generic book that you can use. And then we'll be kickstarting also Tokyo Otherworld, which is the book that focuses on Tokyo. And we want to do so many things. We want to do loads of dangers. There are going to be 2 adventures there that we want to do. We want to do a set of, printed character sheets, character folios that we're so famous of. And there's just so much to do, theme kits for weaponry and cyberware, and there's the list goes on and on. There's so much content that we want to unlock.
Well, I'm certainly excited for it. Well, that's most of the questions I have today. Actually, all the questions I have today.
It's all that I have to tell, so we're good.
I was about to ask, is there anything else you want to tell us about this project, about the Kickstarter?
I think we covered everything. I mean, we're definitely going to be rolling out on social media and with your videos a lot of new stuff as we kind of build it up towards the Kickstarter. But yeah, I think we covered most of it. I'm super excited. I can't wait for this to be revealed. More of this to be revealed.
I'm also super excited to be making videos about this product, because that means I'll be able to read it before it comes out.
Well, certain perks come with the job, yeah.
Well, with that, thank you so much for joining me today, Amit. This has been a fantastic interview. Can't wait for Tokyo Otherworld and for the Kickstarter to launch sometime in April. Until then, we're on different sides of the world, so good evening to you, and
good morning to you.
And to all of you watching, have fun.